Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. First and foremost, I've seen it twice now.
Okay.
I don't go to the theater often, and when I do, I don't often see a movie twice.
Right.
So, okay, I don't want to say that I don't go there often, but I don't go to the theater multiple times for one movie. That's for
Right.
sure. So for me, this is a pretty big deal. But it's been 10 years since the last Evil Dead, so
Right.
this is kind of my franchise. It was going to be very hard for them to mess this up. And me seeing it twice probably gives you an idea of how I feel about it. I really
Right.
liked it. I just before we get into it, I really liked it. I have some small complaints here and there,
Right.
but no real issue. I can't wait to own it on Blu-ray. Like, I don't even need to say anything else. Like,
Right.
I love this movie. What did you
Well,
think?
I'm going to start off by saying I did like it,
Mm-hmm.
but in other than a couple of acknowledgments, it didn't feel like an Evil Dead movie to me.
You're gonna have to explain that.
Okay. Other than, the talk of the book and then like the audio recording, which totally different this time because it's a different book. That's the one thing, we're going to talk about spoilers. It's been out long enough that we
Yeah,
can.
there will be spoilers. Damn it!
Right.
Now, starting now.
Yeah. Did I got your tongue?
Yes.
Well, and that's just it. Like I said, other than like the visual trope of the demon going into someone at the beginning, the run through the proverbial trees.
Well, that was a drone.
Well, obviously, it wasn't, a camera on a 2x4 with two guys
No,
running with it.
no, it wasn't, and it should have
Yeah,
been.
it definitely should have been. I mean, for God's sakes, fuck, they were in a parking lot, underground parking lot. They would have had no worry about hitting a tree. They could have just
Well,
ran
who
and did
knows?
that.
Maybe they did that. Well, that you do get those shots in the end of that happening, literally in the
Oh
parking
yeah,
garage.
yeah, right. Well, it did at the beginning too.
Yes, but that was the drone.
Right.
Oh, but you mean coming right up to the building
Right.
during
Yeah.
the rain?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
I did like the angle, and it was a nod to some of Sam's videography, I guess you want to call, or the angle of the building when you first see it, the apartment building,
Yeah, it's great. There's a shot that
and
starts
then
up
the
behind the
rain.
car and it
Yeah.
pushes forward. Yeah, exactly. You
And
see.
it's kind of at at like a 90-degree, 45-degree angle when
Yeah.
you first see it, and then the turn and the visual. Um, Honestly, the best like overall visual of I thought was at the cabin at the beginning.
Oh, the shot, the title
Yeah,
shot.
right.
It's really good. It's really good.
That
There's
was
no better way to hype me up for a movie than to show that.
right,
Oh
right.
man.
So and I have no real complaints visually on this.
Yeah.
My only thing was, like I said, it as a horror movie by itself, I liked it, but to call it Evil Dead and to kind of play off being Evil Dead, it just to me it didn't have that feel.
So you think it's? Can you explain and like why? Why?
I mean, it just didn't have a lot of those real characteristics of an Evil Dead movie. I mean, and I know this is more along the lines with the newest one, newest Evil Dead
It feels more
than
like the
any other.
original. It feels more
Right,
like the original, and it feels like the 2013 remake. I agree with that.
right. Um, like I said, I'm Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Sure.
That has even the first one really. It has a lot of those. They're not as in leaning as in hard in the other movies. The very first, Evil Dead, as Sam does in the rest of them, but it still has that flair and it still has that
So you
feeling.
just mean the way the camera moves around? Is
No,
that?
no, no, no. I meant just the feel of the movie itself.
Hmm.
And honestly, the remake, it felt more like you said, the very first movie
Oh, for
than the
sure.
other ones, but it still had a lot of that Evil Dead feel. I just
Yeah,
think this one, I know it's a different book. I know it's kind of a different kind of same concept, but I guess different demon, maybe.
yeah. I guess we don't know.
Yeah, and that was kind of, you know, there really wasn't reference other than them saying the three books, which we saw in Army of Darkness.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming we're getting another one,
It would be cool to like follow the three books,
and
yeah, to
then
see
have
where the
kind of
other two are.
a horror Avengers style, all three of them.
Yes,
Something happened.
yes, exactly. I don't agree with the "it doesn't feel like Evil Dead" thing. In fact, I think there were so many little things, uh, and it does a couple things that the other ones haven't done really since it's the first one. So for me, I don't know how it could feel much more. I mean, unless you had Ash or something come back, or put
Which
it in a
technically
cabin.
you
There
did.
is some cabin. Well, we don't
And
know if it's Ash for sure,
it
but
is.
it is his
It is.
voice.
And that's well. No, I'm not saying Ash. I'm saying it's Bruce Campbell's voice. I wasn't
Yes, it's Bruce
saying
Campbell's
Ash.
voice. Well, there's some discussion as to whether or not that character is somehow Ash
Right.
traveled back in time.
Yeah.
That might be on the table, apparently, according to the director, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, the thing, like the first thing right away, is the push through the swamp,
Right.
which is the first scene, the first shot of Evil
Very
Dead
first
One,
shot. Yeah.
literally the first shot of the first movie. Um, but then you get the girl talking to her, I believe they're cousins, and the girl laying on the bed.
Yeah.
That scene does something that the first Evil Dead does that I hadn't seen much since then,
Right.
which is the reading the book, and then the demon starts to read the words, like
Right.
somehow know the words. Um, that's a callback to the scene when they're guessing cards in Evil Dead One.
Right.
Uh, I love that. So like right off the bat, I was like, oh, this is classic Evil Dead right here. But it's a thing that maybe people wouldn't think about or remember because it's only a brief moment in the first movie and that's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a
There
deep
are.
cut.
I mean, yeah, it is a deep cut, and that's part of the thing. It's one of those, and there's a lot of throwbacks and stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it really is, but it's just to me the overall, and like I said, I am not saying at all that I didn't like it because I
Sure.
did. It just to me did not have. I know it had aspects of the Evil Dead franchise,
I mean, let's go through it. There
but
was
it
a
just didn't
shotgun.
have the
There was a
yeah
chainsaw. There was the
right
Book of the Dead. There were Deadites.
right.
Uh, I mean, what else? What else do you need?
It just I think it just didn't have the personality. I mean, to
Uh,
me,
oh
the
man,
same
I think that
personality as
it definitely is a different personality for sure. I
well,
don't,
and that's really what I mean by didn't have the feel of.
but I love that the Deadites are much more on a personal level trying to destroy you in every way, including like emotionally. Uh, Later in the Evil Dead series, like they kind of get away from that,
Yeah.
but in the first movie, that's what it is.
Well, yeah. I
They
mean,
use
that's
their
with
relationship to you to destroy you, basically.
right,
This happens in the new movie. I mean, it's a mother and her
right,
family,
right. No, no,
and she
absolutely.
says some insane things
Right.
and tortures these children. Uh, it really, to me, lines right up. Lines
Okay,
right up.
but did you not call the ending scene at the very beginning?
What do you mean?
Not the one day before, but how the final girl finished
Oh, you have to
everything
know.
off.
You have to know.
I mean, you have to be not to sound this way. You have to be completely and utterly oblivious or stupid
But
to not know how
to me
things are gonna end.
that was really fun. Like that's not a negative. That's like you see that there and you go, oh yeah, we'll be
See
seeing
that
you again
that
later.
to
Oh,
me
here we
that
go.
was
No, no,
it
no.
was too because especially with the shelf dropping, it was too obvious. If it was kind of just a thing in the corner, I would have liked that personally better.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. Um, do you want to go through the?
yeah, let's go through it.
Okay. All right. Let me pull that up.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the name of the man and his tree removal company,
Uh-huh.
tree surgery, was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Fonda's, because Bridget Fonda is in Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
That's such a fun reference. And well, I'll go through the other stuff when we get
Right.
there. But okay, so let's just go through the plot. Friends Teresa and Jessica's new boyfriend Caleb, are vacationing at a lakeside cabin where a seemingly ill Jessica scalps Teresa and decapitates Caleb before levitating above the lake.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
that's
was
what happens.
that was pretty brutal.
The scalping was
part.
brutal.
Yeah.
Uh, it, yeah, it really was. You didn't expect it at all.
No.
It's man, and the
And
fact that she survives to get
I
out to
was
the
gonna say, yeah.
to get out to the lake. The shot of her levitating is gold. It's so good.
Yeah.
And the words come up and the music
Right.
happens and you're like, what are we in for? Here we go.
Yeah.
One day earlier, upset at learning she is pregnant, guitar technician Beth visits her sister Ellie, a single mother to teenagers Danny and Bridget, and preteen Cassie in their condemned Los Angeles apartment complex. So right away, Danny, I don't know this, but I'm just telling you from Evil Dead knowledge. I haven't read anything, but Danny has to be named after Danny Hicks, the guy from Evil Dead 2 who recently passed away.
Right.
He plays he's the redneck guy in Evil Dead 2 who
Right.
is with Bobby Joe, and he's there in the cabin with them for a little while. And then Bridget, I think, also is named Bridget Fonda.
Fonda.
You know, but this is my thoughts. You know, this I didn't read this anywhere, so I could be wrong. The building is shaken by an earthquake while the children are in the basement parking lot. Uncovering a concealed chamber, Danny investigates, discovering religious artifacts, 3 phonograph records from 1923, and a strange book that he takes up to his room. I really, really like that. This, I didn't expect this. I thought for sure, judging by the trailers, that the book would be read at the cabin, and then somehow this evil would get back to the apartment. Yeah. I never expected.
I was thinking that the Danny kid was like one of the people at the cabin and escaped or something like that. Yeah. Before I seen the movie. Yeah.
But it goes the opposite way. And I really like that whole little moment being down in that hole, and you find out that it used to, and they give you the info that it used to be a bank. Yeah. So it makes sense that the vaults would be there.
Right.
And I love, like, they've got all those religious artifacts in there. That giant cross is a good jump scare.
And then all the crucifix, you know, the crucifix and protection medals. Yeah.
I really like that. It's like, man, what is down here? Right. What is this?
So, mental note for the viewers and listeners: you see anything like that, go the opposite fucking way. I mean, just simple as that. Go the opposite fucking way. There is a reason that shit is up there.
But I think that's so delightful that it's been under there the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's an earthquake opens it up. I just love that. Yeah. I really love that. The initial record details rejected efforts by a priest to research the book, revealed to be one of the 3 volumes of Naturum de Monto. The subsequent record reveals the priest continued his research in secret and recites an incantation that summons demonic entities known as Deadites. That scene when Danny is playing the record and spinning it manually at the right speed.
Right.
And the speakers, the shots of the speakers,
and
you have the voice, and it's going Kanda. I have the chill. For me, like that, I was like, this is why I'm here. This is the thing. This is the reason why I'm here. I love this so much.
Now, a little thing that I was like, come on, was the book wouldn't open without him drop of blood.
I agree. That's a little bit of a trope.
It was like,
yeah, I agree with that. But still,
that was never a thing with the original Necronomicon.
Yes, it was not. Yep.
And honestly, I kind of liked the design of the book.
Yeah.
But I kind of didn't, because it reminded me of like the Beast Manual from Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, the book
The one with
monster
the teeth.
book. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Uh, I think the look of it's great. The blood thing, yeah, it's a trope, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I guess it worked for me. But just the audio there, like I want that. I want that. I want
Yeah.
that all the time. That's so cool. Uh, the building's power fails, and an isolated Ellie is attacked and possessed by an unseen force. She pulls a complete Ash move. She says 5 minutes before, never take an elevator after an earthquake. And
Right.
what does she do? She looks at the steps and goes, that's a lot of work. I'm going to take the elevator. After she just told her family, don't do
Right.
this.
Right.
It's exactly an Ash move. That it's
Yeah.
completely what Ash would do. He's a moron. He
Well,
goes back to the cabin. He reads the same stupid book. He gets high later and he reads the poetry with a woman, like just to impress a woman, just to
right.
get laid. It's it's very Evil Dead. So for me, again, this is right in the pocket where we are there. This is an Evil Dead. She returns to the apartment in a trance, menacingly threatening her family, and dies after pleading with Beth to protect her children. The scene of her in the elevator,
Uh-huh.
glorious. The breathing sounds, her getting slapped by an invisible thing,
Right.
her getting wired up by the cables,
That was the only
snapping
thing
the
I
arm.
kind of was like,
That maybe worked better in
I
storyboard.
yeah.
Um,
I wasn't a huge fan of that part.
but it didn't. It does fit. It's the tree vines. It's the branches. You don't have the woods, so you have to do something.
I would have preferred something like almost like a some of the things you've seen in like possession movies of contortion and everything else, and like
She did plenty of contortion.
all the mirror. Well, but it was because of all the wrapped up with stuff, and something
Yeah.
like all the mirrors that were, or the glass that was around, just like
Mhm.
explode. Kind of
That'd be cool.
I thought that would have been a more,
There
I
was a
don't know,
glass explosion, wasn't
fitting.
there?
It like broke. It wasn't.
Yeah. Uh,
When I meant kind of remember the end of Highlander when he says there can be only one after
you love
killing the
Highlander.
Kurgan.
You're a Highlander freak.
I know, but that kind of thing where all the windows explode, kind of where the glass and the mirrors around would have all, that would have been more to me, a little more visually better than CGI wires.
The limbs breaking. I do
Yeah,
like when she opens the door to the apartment and her arm is swinging,
yeah,
and it's because that arm is broken,
right.
but it just sort of looks like
But
it's subtle.
you could have done that though in like she's trying to escape the elevator and the elevator door closes on her arm
What do you
and
think
then
this is?
opens
Final
back up again.
Destination? No, this ain't that.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make their work better.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, she dies. Beth and Ellie's neighbors help lay her to rest in their bedroom and search for a way out. The guy asking to pray, I thought was funny. He's so serious. It's way overdone, I thought.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the lady's like, well, she wasn't religious. And he's like, oh, well, we're doing it anyway.
Right.
And immediately there's a demon in the room.
Right.
They find that the staircase is collapsed. The elevator is damaged and they're unable to access the fire escape before Ellie revives and attacks the family, wounding Bridget. I love when they're like, wait, so she's not dead?
Yeah.
They get her in the tub.
Well, the fly on the eye and her turning her head thing,
That's great. That was great. Yeah.
that was a good shot.
Uh-huh.
And actually the shot I thought was better was where they all like left the room and she just had like half her face sticking out from the door.
Oh yeah.
That's
a
was a
great
good
shot. I agree.
That was
yeah.
a really good shot.
And I gotta admit, I had to say that her makeup is perfect. I think she looks
It's really
the
good.
look, the actor they picked for her,
Yeah.
and everything about she's perfect.
And a lot of times in these movies, they'll pick these actors that are supposed to be related and look nothing fucking alike.
Sure.
The two that played the sisters,
it's viable.
I mean, it's definitely viable with them. They did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. And they do feel like, I think that I think one thing this movie gets right is that the family dynamic works. It feels realistic enough to me.
Right.
The sister, and they don't agree with each other, but they still love each other, and
Right.
they're whatever. I thought everyone worked. Let's see. This kind of skips over the bathroom scene, but the bathroom scene, love that the water's boiling in the tub.
Right.
That's really cool. I didn't really need the walking on the ceiling thing. Like, that's a trope that I
It was best done in Exorcist 3.
get back to the Pope's Exorcist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's fine, it doesn't make me mad, but it's one of those things where I don't get anything out of that anymore.
No.
Um,
I mean, the only thing that worked was, to me, was the coming over the edge of the tub.
That's cool. They're kind of like The Shining or something.
And her up on above the tub and the scream.
Yeah.
And then they could have left it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Her dropped, and then
I like the hand.
tub like
I like
she
the hand
did.
coming over the side.
Yeah,
yeah, that's good.
No, I meant the ceiling stuff and everything else.
That would have been fine
if they would have left it just right there at that point.
I agree, but it's a visual that I think people like. I don't hate it, but it's just like one of those things where I'm like, that didn't really.
It's almost an overused trope.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I totally agree. Beth and the children lock Ellie outside the apartment, and after she pursues it, after which she pursues and massacres the neighbors.
Yeah.
I like
how they frame that.
I did see someone complain. They pointed out that maybe it's a little lame that those kills are through the peephole, but I think it's a good choice.
I thought it was too.
Those are bonus kills anyway.
Right.
If you look at it like that. And seeing it through the peephole puts you in
their perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would have maybe been weirder if we had just been in the hall with the camera. Seeing through the peephole, I think, is a cool device.
Yeah, it was and some of the shots with that was really neat.
Yeah,
and especially the one where the guy that was praying, he was on the backside of it, and then she came around, and then you saw kind of that, from behind her and him angle of it, and her killing him, and that was really the only one you really saw.
You saw the arms get ripped off,
yeah,
and then you see the shotgun guy, Mr.
But I can't remember what his name is, but that one's off.
Mr. Fonda. That's Mr. Fonda, isn't it?
Oh, okay. But that was completely off. The kind of Scooby-Doo hallway.
Yeah,
back and forth.
Yes, absolutely. Danny confesses to Beth after recovering the Natrum de Monto, and Ellie tricks Cassie into unlocking the door before attacking her. The scene when Ellie, and she's named Ellie, but everyone online calls her Maggot Mommy, and I'm into it. Maggot Mommy tricks Cassie into unlocking the door, and I thought that scene was really good when she's like, "Oh, your dad's back," and it's that Evil Dead 1 thing where they're playing these mental games with you. They're just full. It's the most evil you could be, is to lie to a kid like that about something like that. I mean, it's so evil.
But I almost, if they would have played that the little girl would have been younger.
I think she's as young as I want to see a kid in peril. It's already on the edge.
It already is. But in all honesty, a kid that age that's seen that shit go down, there is no way in hell she would have unlocked that door. No matter what.
But that aside, when Ellie comes up to the right to the peephole, and she's like, "Do it for mom and dad." I was like, "Whoa!" I love that. They pitch her voice down a little bit.
Right.
Boy, I love it. And she's acting and saying like, "Oh, he's right here. He came back."
Right.
Oh, that's good.
But like I said, if it would have been a little bit younger kid, I would have been a little more believable with it. Maybe just a couple years. But I mean, by the mentality of this little girl, she seemed a little more mature than her age.
I thought she was fantastic, by the way.
Oh no, yeah, she's
so good.
That's not a knock on her. That's saying that A girl that maturity that saw all that shit go down,
Yeah.
there's no way in hell that girl would have opened that door.
I think you could make that argument. But
So
the maggot mommy was pretty
mhm.
she had a good argument, I guess. Anyway, I liked it, and I liked the face in the
No,
door
I mean the
when her
scenes
face
and the
is there.
visual and the
Oh, it's
all
good.
that. No, it was great. It was
Yeah.
just, and there was a couple little plot hole things that I had, like when the sister got injured by her. Why did she not turn, but the daughter that got jabbed
Remind me
did
what the injury was. What was it?
through the hand?
Oh, the stab. Right.
Yeah,
But it wasn't.
it had already had blood on it from her hand and stuff.
I don't think it. Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
But the other
because she
ones,
broke the glass and had blood all on her hand and on the glass.
right? The
And
other
then
ones
when
are
she
more
put her
obvious.
hand up, it went through.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I see what you mean.
I mean, is it a conscious decision to do that? Or is it, I mean, I know that was one of the things that were in the book, but it's not like she wasn't family either.
One
know?
thing I can think of as an immediate response to that is if you look at the logic of the Evil Dead game, maybe the demon didn't quite have the power yet to spread. I'm just thinking of anything. So like in the Evil Dead game, you can't just go around possessing everyone all the time. Like you have to work up to it.
Right.
So maybe the demon has to feed, and we know that the demon sort of feeds on the chaos and the despair and everything. So maybe that demon didn't have the energy yet to do that.
Well, I don't know. It was pretty damn hectic at that point.
Oh man. And I love that they give you that description, like, oh, it feeds on the chaos.
Yeah.
It feeds on the fear. Like that's really
Right.
cool. Okay, where are we?
Okay.
Um
This was breaking through the door.
Bridget becomes possessed via her wound.
Right.
Bridget attacks Beth before turning on Danny and Cassie, who inadvertently impales her through the head with a broken broom handle, aka Staffney. The best. Very good.
Now that whole scene with her possessed,
so good, right? Wasn't it?
That was really good. I would say
the sheet over and
before that, her on the counter.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
When the one under the sheet has the person up against the counter, the other kid up against the counter.
No, before that.
Oh, okay.
When the sister and I forget what her name is.
Well, we have
the tech sister.
That one's Beth.
Beth. When Beth comes around the corner and she's on top of the counter.
That's
before looking the sheet.
Like looking up weird.
Yeah, and eating glass, and you see it go down.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's really brutal.
No, that was another non-practical effect that I wish they would have made.
The shot of the neck.
The shot of the neck. I think it would have been more. It almost did kind of like take me out. I mean, it looked brutal. More her just chewing on the glass.
Yeah, he didn't really need to show
the neck.
He didn't even need to show that, really.
But I mean, if they would have done that shot of the neck as a practical effect and not a CGI one, I think it would have been more impactful because it would have really looked, a little more gruesome and a little more.
Yeah, I wonder how you would even do that.
I mean,
I'm not an expert. I don't know, but I'm just trying to imagine like that would be a fun thing to try to do. Anyway, yeah, you're right, and that scene is cool too. And also, we kind of skipped over the eggs scene.
Oh, at the beginning.
Yeah, that was good.
Cooking the eggs.
And then the thing
some of them were bloody.
Yeah. The thing I also wanted to mention was when Ellie comes out of the dark room and she goes, "Which one of you wants to run next?" And she goes, "Eeny, meeny, miny, you."
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good.
As I said, there's a lot of good,
That's very Evil Dead to me. That's very Evil Dead. That's better than half the shit Evil Ash says. Come on. He says Sally Forth and his jaw falls off.
I know.
Where are we?
You can't tell me that's not great.
I love it. I love it.
And he has to strap his jaw.
Sally Ford. Yeah, okay. Beth listens to the third record to understand how to exorcise the Deadites, but learns the priest failed and his allies were all possessed, with only complete destruction of the host stopping the Deadites. Bridget revives and fatally stabs Danny. Oh, that's from the scissors in the nose.
Yes.
Good God. Another brutal, unique thing. I've seen scissors in horror plenty, but that straight up the sniffer. Good Lord. I mean, that was brutal.
Yeah.
And it looked great. I mean, it just looked great. So Danny sets Bridget on fire before dying as Ellie infiltrates. That whole bit with the sheet is on
right.
Bridget, and Bridget stabbing through the arm. That looked good. That looked really good.
Yeah.
And what else happened? There's something else really good happened during that moment. I just like all that stuff. It all works for me.
Well, I mean, that was a big part with Staphne.
Yes, Staphne, the best. Okay.
Yeah.
Bridget revives and fatally stabs Danny, sets Bridget on fire before dying, as Ellie infiltrates the apartment by using the vents.
Yeah.
Yes, you think the cat's going to get killed. The cat doesn't die, but the cat gives an idea to the demon.
That we know of.
That's true. Maybe while she was in there, she
could have ate it. Yeah.
Realizing
that would have been a great part. She jumps in the vents and
burps and like pulls the hair out.
Yeah.
Realizing Beth is pregnant, Ellie attempts to rip the fetus out of her, but Beth and Cassie are able to incapacitate her with scissors. There's the scissors.
Yes.
Ellie fails to emotionally manipulate Cassie, who accepts that her mother is already gone. This is right around the time when Cassie says, "Are you going to be a mommy?"
Yeah.
And then Beth says, she takes a pause and says yes. But I really, really like that moment.
Yeah.
That moment is really good because it's not just a simple, yes, I'm pregnant. Right. It's like you were making the decision to be not only the mother to that child, but probably to Cassie as well.
Yeah.
If you think about it, she's saying like, I'm going to be here for you. Don't worry about it.
Right.
It's more of a reassuring thing to the kid as well. I love that. There's more to it than just, yes, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, that was a good back and forth.
Really
really
that.
was.
That was really good. Yeah. So Danny and the bodies of the neighbors are possessed. The bodies of the neighbors, leading Beth and Cassie to take shelter in the damaged elevator. That scene also 10 out of 10. They're all chanting "Dead by Dawn."
Yeah.
It gives me the chills. It's so cool. The elevator is slamming and they're chanting, and it's just the tension is wild, and they're stuck in this elevator. And then Ellie, Bridget, and Danny merge into a multi-limbed creature known as the Marauder. Oh, I didn't know it was called the Marauder.
I didn't know that. I was calling it Famablob.
Famablob! It's basically John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
It's also a necromorph from Dead Space. I was initially a little bit bummed out. I was like, oh, that's what the creature is? Like, we've seen this before many times.
And actually, the Famablob thing came from the Star Brand series in comics.
Okay.
And like DP7 and Star Brand, those.
I didn't know that one.
There was a thing called Famablob. It was like this family that like merged in together and then like just kept collecting people, more and more giant, where there was more people and voices, and that
sounds like a Famablob. Yeah. But now initially I was like, that's kind of bummed by that design, but the more like on my second viewing of the movie, I appreciated it more because it is the metaphor, the family thing. So it works with the story, but maybe it doesn't deliver on, like, I'm thinking of the end of Evil Dead 2 when you get this amazing, big, huge, they call it Rotten Applehead in the commentary. I don't know what it actually is called, this demon, but it's this massive demon thing that like fills the whole doorway.
Right.
I was expecting something more like that, but the Famablob is pretty cool. I like it. It climbs above the elevator, and the elevator fills with blood, which is glorious. The combined weight causes the elevator to plummet to the ground floor, allowing Beth and Cassie to flee to the parking lot. The Marauder captures Cassie and attempts to behead her with a chainsaw, but Beth returns and distracts it. She and Cassie destroy the Marauder's body by forcing it into the wood chipper. Ellie's decapitated head taunts Beth, saying she will be a failure as a mother, prompting her to kick Ellie's head into the chipper. Beth and Cassie escape the building together. The next morning, Jessica goes to the parking lot to leave for her vacation, where she is attacked by an unseen force. And that's Jessica from the beginning of the movie. So that's how the evil gets to the cabin.
Right.
So there's a few things to go back there. I love the wood chipper stuff. That's very cool. Them being completely covered in blood. That poor little girl's face. And her eyes open up and she goes, "Am I dead?"
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And just the contrast of her teeth and her eyes compared to the red. It was
her
like
little bitty face. She's so cute. I really like all that. The thing, and my probably biggest problem with this entire movie, is the line that Beth has, the "come get some" line. I get why you would want that there, because it's from Evil Dead. It's a Bruce Campbell thing.
Yeah.
Bruce says it multiple times. But I don't think it makes any sense
for that character,
for Ellie to say that at all.
No.
Or Beth, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes any sense. This is the biggest knock I'm going to give the movie, because I would need to be convinced as to why it makes any sense whatsoever for her to say that. The line about "only my sister gets to call me that," that line makes sense.
Yeah.
That should have been the line.
That should have been it right there.
Mm-hmm. But I get that the head, that's a very Evil Dead thing. The head threatening you one more time literally happens in Army of Darkness.
Right.
When Evil Ash's head is talking to Ash.
Right. And that's fine. And I mean, that's fine too. That's, and that's another trope yet again of, some demonic creature that the head's left. I mean, you can even go all the way to Constantine. Remember when Gavin Rossdale's, So, but yeah, the "come get some," that one really kind of...
It didn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
No, that one kind of rubbed me why it was in it.
The theater liked it. The crowd I was with liked it. But I was like...
Well, it was a member berry. I mean, that's all it was. All it was.
It doesn't ruin the movie by any means. But I was like, can we not have an alternate line there?
That was that was a little cringy.
Yeah. It did make me kind of go... I wouldn't have gone with that line. But I want to give some credit to Lee Cronin, who wrote and directed this movie. I think it's nailed. I think he nails it. If your job was give me Evil Dead in a high-rise apartment, this is it.
Oh, and like I said, as a movie, I liked it. I think it did an awesome job at it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like I said, my opinion, but it had throwbacks to Evil Dead, but it just didn't feel like Evil Dead to me. The way honestly, even the original remake, was like spot on Evil Dead.
Oh, I love the 2013 remake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, I like this movie a lot. In some ways, it is most like the original and the 2013 remake. It seems to follow that. Here's the thing. Evil Dead has evolved as a franchise.
Yeah.
It starts out as a vicious possession movie in the woods, right?
Right.
But then it ends up an action comedy thing with a man fighting skeletons and winged demons and stuff. It's
many hymns
and it's a comedy. Yeah. It's a comedy. It goes to humor. So to go back a little bit and kind of go back to the roots, like I can see why it might be like, well, like even Evil Dead 2 is like already fully opened the door to the comedy. It's a Looney Tunes cartoon of a horror movie.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. It's the Three Stooges. It's Looney Tunes. It is so cartoon-like.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get with the Sam Raimi Evil Dead. So I can see why people go, well, I don't know. That's not the way I want Evil Dead to feel.
Right.
But I think this ticks every box for it to work as an Evil Dead movie. I don't think it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, why'd they even bother to call it Evil Dead? I think it deserves it. And I think I want to see more from Lee Cronin. I like his previous movie, Hole in the Ground.
Right.
It's a different kind of movie, but I really like it.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Beth and the little girl. Hopefully they get to come back. Like, I would like all these different timelines to have sequels.
Well, I mean, at this point, let's get the third book. You've already, we've seen it in Army of Darkness. They talked about it in this one. Let's get a separate story from the third book, and then make a story that culminates all that together.
That's been the talk for a long time. That's been the talk since 2013 when Mia, she's the survivor from that one.
Right.
The idea was, and there's interviews with Bruce and Sam saying, we'd love to do the next movie to be Bruce and Mia teaming up.
Right.
That would have been amazing. But if we can get all these together into one final, whatever, and this can continue forever. I mean, you don't have to have Bruce. As much as I love Bruce, he is like the factor that makes them all work in the originals.
Right.
But I think we can go for a long time with this. I want more. I want an Evil Dead movie every year. And if they're not all amazing, fine. I just want more, maybe not every year, but I want one. I want more. I don't want to wait 10 years for the next one. This movie has got me so excited about it.
I mean, I could see, and just kind of a jumping off point, do another one of the third book. And then you've got these three separate, antagonists that the last person in each one of these movies. And
the survivor character.
The survivor character. Yeah. And then somehow, and you can even have him more of a, semi-serious, but somehow Ash has to get them all together and the books all together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And be that fourth movie, and to use a bad movie comparison, the three mother boxes from Justice League.
Yes.
That there's something's going to happen
if
those
merge.
Three culminate, together. I
just watched that again. Why did I watch that again? I had it was on. I was
it
doing
was
some
on
work.
TV. And,
exactly
background
right,
noise.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want to get into Justice League.
And then to have that's when Ash comes in.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of the goofy Superman.
Yes.
To bring it all, the.
By the way, speaking of Bruce Campbell and Superman, I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but someone tweeted
but I haven't seen anything from him.
Someone tweeted the idea of him playing Kingdom Come Superman.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And he was like, "DM me." How great would that be?
Yeah.
He could have played Superman. He could still do Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome. I love that. So yes, for me, this movie does way more good than it does wrong. And I saw it twice. I love this thing,
and I liked it a lot. Like
the sound design,
the sound was awesome.
Yeah. I noticed many little things that were directly pulled from other Evil Dead movies, like weird little noises that you will only know if you've seen them all many times, like I have. Just weird little sounds that are just like, wait, you would never think twice about. But I was like, that's from Evil Dead 2. That's from Army of Darkness. Like, I recognize these little sounds that they snuck in there. And I thought the sound design was incredibly good.
Yeah. And I like the fact that the score
it's great.
Of the movie was so subtle, but it played in a very integral part.
Yeah, the score works. I think everything, and it feels like Evil Dead. Yeah. It doesn't feel like some weird knockoff to me. I think it worked. That score could have been, and let me tell you this, the sound design for Evil Dead 2, for example, is like really bad. I don't know if you've seen it recently, but the sound it does not hold up. You can't get a good mix of that movie.
It's probably okay for its time.
Right. It would have been okay at the time.
kind of budget
but I feel like even at the time, maybe it wasn't the most amazing.
Well, it might be also because of the budget at that point.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that this is one example of where this movie outshines some of the original by far. That it's just the sound design to me is off the charts in this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. So I could talk about this for another 3 hours. But I think we've said what we need to say.
Yeah.
We give a rating. We don't do star ratings or
Right.
whatever. But
No.
is my rating system has always been: should you see it or not? Do I recommend it or not? And hell yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 thumbs way up.
Yeah.
Go see Evil Dead Rise. Take your whole family. Don't do that. But please go see it if you're even considering. If you like, and the nice thing here, you don't need to have seen any of the other Evil Dead movies,
No.
which I think is another thing that really works in this movie's favor.
Right.
There are some Easter eggs, obviously, for people who love the old ones. There's a ton of them, but you do not need to have seen any of those other ones.
No.
They'll add to your enjoyment.
That's the one thing that I do like is it's in, as much as, like I said, it doesn't to me have that feel that it's not that it doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie. It doesn't have my feel of an Evil Dead movie.
I think we hit on that because it's like I said, you could be more of a fan of the comedy horror in Evil Dead 2 or whatever, the Army of Darkness action fun comedy. But this is different. This is more like Evil Dead 1.
This as a whole, like I said, and even if you didn't know anything about the previous ones, it's almost better if you're a casual fan to not know about the previous ones, because this will seem more like a self-contained, horror movie. That's good.
Yeah, it's good for sure.
So,
boy, I was expecting to have to fight you hard on this, but not at all. I think your opinion is pretty good too.
I think we're just getting to the same point of our opinion of the movie, and just from different angles.
Yeah, I've already pre-ordered it on Amazon. I'm ready for that blue. It better have a commentary.
Oh, I'm sure.
No thanks to you, Glorious.
Yeah.
I can't say. Well, I could say tons more, but I don't need to say anything else. I think my opinion is clear. This movie. Oh, let's rank them.
Okay.
And after all I've said, I think I have my ranking pretty much. This is actually tougher than I anticipated, because sometimes I want more of the comedy, and then sometimes I want more of the vicious horror,
Right.
I think they're pretty much all. I would maybe go Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness joint first, then Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead Remake joint second, then Rise, then the TV show.
Yeah. That's probably about where I have.
But they're all 10 out of 10.
Too, yeah.
They're all so good. So I don't want you people to think like I'm saying the ones on the bottom are bad. They're not. They're all awesome. That's the thing. There's not a stinker in the bunch. You have to admit that. There isn't. Yeah. There's not.
And in my perspective, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness could be interchanged as 1 and 2.
That's why I had to put them joint. Yeah, exactly right.
So
I agree with that.
This is a ranking we probably both agree on for the first time of our podcast.
For the first time ever. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
But and like I said, I don't want people to think that I didn't like it, because I did. I really did like it. But it just, for me, like I said, 2 and Army of Darkness are that feel of Army of Darkness that, I have. And this just wasn't. It had throwbacks and memories to those movies, but it didn't have that same exact feel.
It's just your preference. That's fine.
So
you should have one. If you didn't, you shouldn't be here.
You could have taken the Dead off and just did Evil Rise.
Evil Rise.
And, it would have been just as good of a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely. Boy, I loved it. I want to talk about it forever. I probably will. So I may try to sneak to the theater for a third viewing.
Third time. Go on a Tuesday night.
Oh, it's so good. That's when I went the second
show.
time.
Yeah.
I did it for the second one. So good. So anyway, that's everything I have to talk about for today.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.